Hello and welcome to Standard Sports Ashes coverage. One of the last of these that we'll be doing because the series is over. England have collapsed once again. Australia wrapped up a 4-0 victory today. Not quite a whitewash, thanks to, in large part, to that bit of rain we had on the fifth day in Sydney. I'm joined by Will McPherson from Hobart. Will, your thoughts then on the way things unravelled very quickly again today?
Yeah, you're right. It was only one wicket from a whitewash in the end. That sort of brave 9-wicket down effort in Sydney last week feels a very long time ago tonight after England was skittled. They lost 10 for 56 today. They lost 9 wickets in the session. They lost 1 with the final ball of the previous session. So it was 10 wickets in absolutely no time. It was a pretty pathetic capitulation, to be honest. There was some poor luck involved. Joe Root got a scooter. But generally, it was really poor batting. You know, Ben Stokes getting out hooking, Sam Billings caught mid-on, Ollie Pope. You know, it wasn't good enough. And actually, England had quite a good first half of the day, and then they just let it all go to waste. I'm not going to go as far as to say they were in a winning position, but they were in a position where they'd given themselves a chance and they'd given themselves hope. By bowling Australia out pretty efficiently for about 150, and then in their chase of 271 they made it to 68 for none, but then they just folded from there. And it was it's impossible to say that you're surprised by that given the pattern of the series and the long-term issues England have had against this Australia team.
You mentioned how well they bowled at the start of the day, and Mark Wood in particular got 6 wickets. Felt like a bit of a reward, really, for his efforts across the whole series. At the close of play there, when they were doing the presentations, he got actually quite a nice ovation from the Australian crowd as well. We're going to talk on a future show a bit more about what comes next for England, but he probably is the standout player in terms of someone who's come out of this tour with a bit of credit in the bank.
Absolutely, definitely England's man of the series. Possibly their only player who's enhanced his reputation. Other guys had good moments, but Wood is the only one who sort of sustained it throughout. And it was a shame, really, that generally England's batters did not live up to the efforts of their bowlers. Their bowlers only took 20 wickets for the first time in this game. And that was actually the first time they'd done it in 8 years in Australia, which is, unbelievable, really, 10 test matches. But wicket taking had been a problem for England before this test. And to be honest, they got away from Australia got away from England on day one, which is possibly when this game was lost as well. So, yeah. I mean, Wood's for one positive, but that doesn't say much when they use 15 players across the series to only come away with one genuine positive.
Let's talk about Australia a little bit then. Is it fair to say that they're maybe a better team than we were giving them credit for coming into this series, or at least they've played like it? Because so many of the sort of peripheral characters that we weren't maybe expecting much from, Travis Head, Cam Green, Scott Boland, we didn't think would play, maybe the same with Khawaja, have all made massive contributions.
Yeah, Australia are definitely a better team than I kind of expected them to be, and they've got some players on their fringes who have performed wonderfully. I didn't think Travis Head would get 2 centuries necessarily in the series. Cameron Green has shown himself to be an outstanding bowler and a batsman of huge potential. To watch Scott Boland come in, and he's averaging under 10 in Test cricket. He's got 18 wickets in his first 3 matches. You looked at his performance in Melbourne and you thought he can't possibly back that up. And he has. Jai Richardson played very well at Adelaide. It's been a wonderful team effort. Josh Hazlewood only played 1 test, but he hasn't been missed. It is quite incredible. And Cummins has led them really well. He ended up as the leading wicket taker with 21, despite missing a test through no fault of his own. But he's given them a sort of kind of credible, nice guy edge, I would say, and they're all the better for it.
Just to finish then, I mean, you're out there. The reception of this victory for Australia, do you think that it means as much to them? Is it being kind of euphorically celebrated? Because it's been a long time now since England have gone over there and given them anything like a competitive series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Australians ever mind smashing the Poms. I don't think there's a lack of appetite for it. I think there has been a bit of disappointment here that the series just hasn't been as competitive. They'd much rather beat a strong England team. But the last strong England team that came here won. in 10-11. Every other performance has been deeply disappointing since then. I think they thought they'd get a better fight, but when you think about it, they wouldn't. England were always up against it with the situation around their preparation and COVID and all that sort of stuff. And then they haven't helped themselves. They selected poorly. They've made some bad errors, and some key players have not performed to the level that was hoped of them. I think there is. I don't think there's going to kind of full on euphoria here, and something that maybe this. Maybe this series all is not quite well. If you look at the last three series, it's 13 defeats for England in 15 matches with two draws. So that it's a long time since England have won here, and it feels a long time until they will again.
Well, it's not quite our last show. We'll do one more of these where we'll have a look at what comes next for England. We'll let the dust settle slightly overnight, although I guess the fallout will carry on for a long time beyond that. But cheers, Will, and yeah, we'll catch up again tomorrow.